Yesterday I was sitting on the train on my way to work, and in front of me there was a girl sitting, and she was kind of glued to a phone, scrolling. And I looked at her, and suddenly she looked at me, and she gave me like this very kind of, I don't know, hostile, toxic gaze, which immediately made me feel really kind of low. And I'm very receptive towards energies and frequencies, you know, coming from other people. I mean, the moment we get like an impulse from someone else, yeah, it runs through our filter, kind of, you know, we react or we don't react, we interpret, it does something to us. That's what it comes down to, right? So in that moment I looked at her, and this weird energy came toward me, and I noticed that as a reaction my gaze changed as well. Maybe it was softer before, but after that I had like this more tense kind of look. And you know, in that moment I had to think of the night, like of Monday, last Monday. I went to cinema, and I was at a film premiere of a dear friend and colleague of mine. And the moment after the movie was finished and he walked down the stairs and everyone was clapping. Everyone was clapping like in their own rhythm, and it was like, you know, this kind of random noise, right? And I was feeling, okay, now I'm just, because there was this music, you know, playing at the end of the credits, I was kind of just starting to clap in the rhythm of the music. And in seconds, like maybe 5 seconds, it was like a big movie theater. The whole movie theater was clapping in that rhythm. And that kind of made it clear to me again how energy works and how motion works and also emotion works, right? This was like a physical motion, and it transmits, right? You know, from one person to another. So when I was on the train, I was thinking of that, and I started to do the same. I thought, okay, let's bring something in motion here. Instead of just giving that gaze back and tapping into the same kind of frequency or energy field, just go into a counter movement. So I just looked at her and I just smiled at her, you know, like it's very gentle, soft, open-hearted smile. And well, she didn't smile back, but still it changed something. And after that I did it like with someone else, and in that moment I felt just something shift, you know. I just felt like a different rhythm, a different vibration, however you want to call it. I mean, it's just words. Just wanted to share that before I go to work, because I will be sitting on the train again, and very often I'm sitting in the train and just feeling this tense energy and already getting to work like in such a weird mood. But I feel it doesn't have to be that way. You know, I believe every action vibrates in the shared field we live in. Call it energy, call it frequency. It's just a way of naming what we already sense. And I really used to roll my eyes at talk of energy fields until I felt this shift when my sister left this world. And all I can say is connection is not an idea, it's reality, it's an atmosphere. And most mornings on my way to work, on the train, I notice people staring into their phones, scrolling, as if their attention is kind of being siphoned into this bottomless pit. And I feel like the air is filled with a kind of psychic noise, if that makes sense, like a low static that's just so strangely exhausting. And I notice the same in myself. Like after, for example, after a late night dive through endless political videos, I feel so drained, like I've given something away without meaning to. But at the same time, I don't want to demonize social media. Like, for example, when I watch a video that feels like visual poetry, a voice, noticing the world with care, and, for example, I just feel so restored. Like my own creativity stirs, and maybe I write a few lines, maybe I simply tidy a corner in my home, or I don't know. But, you know, the impulse is alive again. And that too is a ripple. I keep circling back to what poetry really is. Some people say that it brushes against quantum physics, you know, that strange frontier where observation changes reality. I think poetry happens when logic just runs out a road and something unmeasurable begins to glow. You know, it's a sudden alchemy, you know, a small transformation where the unexplainable becomes palpable. Like, imagine this. 3 simple words, like ordinary on their own, fall into one arrangement, or into that one arrangement that unlocks a heart. Like, shift them even slightly and the spell breaks. But that's poetry's impossible physics. So I am done with work now, and I am looking forward to tonight because I ordered a poetry collection by Andrea Gibson, and a friend of mine, Lucy, she inspired me to read her poetry again, and I think I'm going to go to my favorite cafe maybe for 1 hour and write a little bit before I have my next appointment. Tschüss, Tanja. And speaking about poetry, words are only one doorway. Like, a smile can be just as poetic. And I mean, not that polite reflex, but that kind of smile that is born from a real unguarded spark. A smile that carries a world inside it. And food can be poetry too. You know, the way cook layers flavors, and the way a meal gathers people around the table and just turns appetite into communion. The placement of a single object in a quiet room, all of that can slip explanation and land directly in the soul.
I've been down, I've been everywhere, but I'm alright now, I'm alright. I nearly drowned in my own despair, but I'm alright now, yeah. Baby, you can turn the rain into gold. Stop always messing around, but that has changed now. That has changed. I never thought I could settle down, but that has changed now. That has changed. Baby, you can turn the rain into gold. So this is what it means to fall in love. I like
it. Bitterness is hell. I've been working my ass off. Nothing hurts more than living someone else's life. So true. I just love this one. There is no weapon more dangerous than a wound. Safety isn't always safe. You can find one on every gun. I am aiming to do better. You will never have to lose yourself to win me over. Yeah, this day is almost over. I try to be very mindful with my scrolling habits, or I would even say addiction today. I think most of us are addicted to scrolling. Something that scrolling does, it makes us kind of feel like we're within motion and movement, and that's kind of the tricky part and the dangerous part, because I feel it's like so much pollution. I feel when I'm sitting in the train and I like everyone is kind of in this weird pull. It's as if people are breathing the smog constantly without noticing it, and I'm doing it myself. So like what I'm consuming, these informations that I'm consuming, nothing of it is really nourishing or nurturing. Most of it is just stirring fear inside of me and anxiety. That's just a simple fact. So I try to be more mindful with it, and this is not a how-to video here. There are great videos on how to systemically break scrolling habits or addictions. I just wanted to inspire myself and hopefully you to create kind of an antidote that comes from a place of abundance rather than a place of lack, I would say. The reasons for our distractions always run deeper, so there is no quick fix, but I think what we can do is inspire ourselves and others to at least try to connect to love rather than fear, I would say, basically. So anyway, I'm going to bed now, and catch you on the flip side. So I had a very bad night. I had insomnia, which I didn't have for a long time. I couldn't sleep like until 4 o'clock. I feel very drained and exhausted, but it's okay. It could be worse. But I think I had like withdrawal symptoms from not scrolling, which means not consuming. I think like probably like a dopamine cold turkey or whatever. Something that I must have been suppressing kind of came to the surface tonight and wouldn't let me sleep. It was pretty unpleasant, but yeah, anyway, for me it's still important kind of to keep my rhythm and my rituals. That's kind of what gives me structure, and yeah, so that's why I made my bed first thing. I made myself my little matcha, but although I have to say I've been drinking matcha for over 15 years now, at least, so before it all became this big hype, and it's right now really like a matcha crisis because it's gotten such a big trend like all over the world, like due to the influencers mainly. And I get like my matcha actually from farmers directly in Japan who have their fields, you know, and it takes like 2 years kind of to make this exquisite matcha. And right now the taste has changed so much. You don't get like the best quality anymore. Anyway, that's just another topic. I just needed to say that each time kind of things get commercialized, it's just a sad story. Right now I'm really, it's something that really drags me down, that it doesn't taste like it used to. So I got myself this beautiful little collection of poems by Hermann Hesse. And Hermann Hesse was actually one of the first writers and poets. Well, I know him more as a writer because I read almost all of his novels as a teenager. I think I'm not the only one. I feel he's like, yeah, this one writer lots of teenagers kind of discover. Well, it was the case with me at least. And so I read Siddhartha and Narziss and Goldmund and Demian. And here, this little book is from 1915. This little book here is over 100 years old. Could be over 100. Oh my god, it smells so good. It's called The Music of the Lonely One, or The Music of the Lonely. I would say the lonely one because it's singular. And just thinking, like, it's like called New Poems by Hermann Hesse, and just thinking that, like, imagine over 100 years ago, I don't want to romanticize anything, but when people didn't used to have their phones and couldn't scroll, I just try to imagine, you know, they might have kind of sat in their whatever on their way to work. Probably it's just a romantic image. Walking on their way to work with like this little, like a little book like that in their hands. Well, I don't think so. They were probably occupied like with surviving, but those who had like some time for thriving, they just sat with a little book like that and just read these beautiful poems instead of kind of scrolling through news or through weird shorts on TikTok or whatever. Sometimes I just think how the world has changed. It's crazy. So this is not a how-to video. This is just an inspiration. It's supposed to be like a little ripple effect to give you an impulse maybe to do something nourishing instead of scrolling, and something that has this quality of poetry for you. And remember that the beauty of life, the essence of life, is poetry. And the more we tap into that source, into that power source again, the more we will feel connected, the more we will feel alive again. I mean, scrolling is nothing else than trying to get like a quick dopamine kick and quick dopamine rush. And it does something to our brain. It really, yeah, it's a self-built prison. Let's try to get out of that and consume mindfully. Create something yourself. It doesn't have to be something physical, it can be like an energetic creation, like a beautiful smile, like I said. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I will wrap this up. I will go outside. It's beautiful, beautiful weather. I will look after my little pigeons. I will try to, yeah, just catch some glimpses of the morning sun before my working day starts.